Today on Grand Cuisine, we have a fried chicken controversy. We're going to explore chicken a la Maryland, and we're going to talk about Maryland chicken, the cooking of it, and the history, and what it's all about. This is really an interesting subject for some fried chicken, so I hope you join us. So we are going to do chicken Maryland. As I was preparing for this segment, I was kind of looking through. There are so many sites and Facebook pages that have historical cooking, and I was perusing through, and the subject, of course, of the Titanic's last menu came up, and on the menu for lunch in first class was chicken a la Maryland. Now, we're not going to get into the whole Titanic and the whole food information and all of that. There are so many other people who have covered that. At least right now, that's not going to be our strategy. But I saw chicken Maryland. And I actually remember cooking chicken Maryland when I was in school, in culinary school. And I thought, what a fun thing to do. So I went looking for recipes, of course, and the immediate place that people go is Escoffier, because he is known for giving a recipe for chicken Maryland, first in Ma Cuisine and also in his earlier book from 1903. And he has a couple of great recipes, and we're basically going to follow Escoffier's recipe. I did also look at my friend Charles Renhofer from Delmonico's, who also in 1893 had a chicken a la Maryland recipe, and it was similar but not the same as Escoffier's, which was quite interesting. And as I look, I find that chicken Maryland, the recipe, came about in around the late 1880s. So there really is an interesting aspect of chicken Maryland. First of all, it's named Maryland because classically the garnish for chicken Maryland includes fried bananas. And we're going to make some today. And the reason you have bananas with this as a garnish is because Maryland was the great importer of bananas at the turn of the last century. They were known for bananas. So this is why the bananas became synonymous with chicken Maryland. But chicken Maryland is also a method of cooking fried chicken. Of course, we know that slaves brought over the amazing technique and method of cooking fried chicken, and they would generally use what is called the pan frying method, where you would take a pan, you would fill it with 2 or 3 ounces of oil, and you would heat that up, and then you would put the chicken into the pan and cook it slowly, turning it. Well, the Maryland method actually uses a smaller amount of oil, and then you actually take and you put a lid on the pan and you allow the pan to steam the chicken in that enclosed lid. So let's go ahead and prepare our chicken. According to Chef Escoffier, we have our chicken that we cut. Now it's very interesting. There is chicken Maryland for chicken breast. There's chicken Maryland for half chickens. There's chicken Maryland for chicken pieces. You can do almost any part of the chicken you want. So as you can see from the video that I have gone ahead and I have taken a whole chicken and I have fabricated the chicken for you. First, I've taken the legs off, and then I am going to remove the thigh bone and take that out. So we have a boneless thigh. So we just have the drumstick that has the bone in it. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the breast off of the carcass, and I'm going to cut down, and I'm going to actually remove the wing with that. And then I'm going to take and I'm going to what is known now today as airline the chicken breast, where you actually remove the first and second joint of the wing, or the wing tip and the first joint, and then you actually remove the meat from around what is the drumstick of the wing itself. So you expose the bone and it actually becomes a handle. They were doing this back in the 1890s, early 1900s. They just didn't call it airline yet. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to season our chickens. And I'm going to add just a little bit of salt and pepper. Now, this is interesting too, because we are going to bread them. And once again, depending on the recipe, depending on who you read, will depend on how you bread them. I've seen everything from batter dipping the chicken. I've seen dipping it in flour. And then I've seen, and of course, egg, and then breadcrumbs. And then I've seen Chef Escoffier's recipe, which is probably the most unique method for battering, where we simply take and we're going to season it with some salt and pepper. And then I'm going to take some butter that I have over here on the stove, and I'm going to pour it into a pan. And I'm going to take the chicken and I'm going to simply dip it into the melted butter, just like this, dipping even the bone from the breast itself. And then I'm going to put it into some fresh breadcrumbs and just pat that all over with some fresh breadcrumbs. And then I'm going to lay it onto a sheet pan. So now we're ready to start frying our chicken. So as per Chef Escoffier, we're using clarified butter into our sautoir. And we're going to add some clarified butter, just about an inch or so. And we're going to heat that up. My butter's already pretty hot, so I'm hoping it'll be fairly hot. So, and then we're going to add our chicken in skin side or presentation side down. So we're going to add that straight in. We can get at least one of our legs in there. And we're going to let those fry. And we're going to let them fry open on the first side. And then we're going to actually turn them over, and then we're going to apply our lid to them. Now, we are cooking on our wood cook stove, just as Chef Escoffier might have. Certainly Chef Renhofer and many of the people who would have cooked chicken a la Maryland when it was first created in the 1880s. So we're going to actually adjust our heat by moving my pan around. So I'm going to allow this to heat and get it nice and brown. We'll take this chicken piece off for the moment. And we're going to let this just get a nice golden brown. And I don't really think we're going to need a lot more butter in our pan, because after we flip these and we get that real nice crust, as we said, we're going to cover it with a lid and allow it to steam. As I read this and understood the Maryland process of chicken frying, I thought, I wonder if this is where Colonel Sanders developed his recipe for pressure fried chicken. So many things. It's amazing the controversy that comes around with frying chicken. and how some people said this was the correct way and other people said no. And so very, very interesting. And it got into a little bit of a north and south thing as well. I'll let you make the final decision on that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to flip it over. Look at how beautiful those are. Just beautiful, golden, crispy. And then we're going to flip over our leg. And then I think I'm going to keep it right here. I'm going to take a lid and we're going to cover it. And we're going to let our chicken cook. Now, here, we don't play around. We don't play 1893. We play 2023. We want to make sure that our chicken registers at 165 degrees internal temperature. So if you do this, make sure that you temp that chicken to make sure it is cooked correctly. So let's go ahead and let's fry our bananas. What do you say, Humphrey? Should we fry the bananas now? Huh? Humphrey is saying, this looks pretty good. I would like some. So I've taken the bananas and I've cut them on the diagonal, on the bias it's called, by cutting it at an angle. So maybe about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch thick. And I'm going to add them to my pan with a little bit of clarified butter, oil, and we're just going to kind of brown them a little bit. So I know that this is probably the odd part of the recipe. And depending on the chicken Maryland, you may or may not see bananas. Now, as you can see, we also, in the video, we also fried some corn fritters, which was a classic presentation that I found throughout many of the recipes for chicken Maryland. So we saw corn fritters in Chef Escoffier's recipe, and we saw corn fritters or corn mush cakes in many recipes. So once again, it kind of nods to that very, very Southern style cuisine. So we went ahead and made some beautiful golden brown corn fritters that we're going to go ahead and add. So we're going to have to run around our house 20 or 30 times after this meal, but I'm telling you, it's really worth it. When you taste the sauce, when you taste the corn fritters, and with the chicken, it's just remarkable. So we're going to let those fry, and then we're going to be ready to plate this up. So for our recipe for our sauce, according to Chef Escoffier, we need some horseradish. So I have some fresh horseradish here that we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a piece off. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to peel that. We'll peel this down. And of course, horseradish is pretty darn strong. So you will smell and feel the effects of it as soon as you begin to cut into it. We're going to take it. We're going to actually just slice it into thin slices. So he suggests about 5 ounces. I think that's kind of up to you. You may not want 5 ounces. That's kind of a lot. So you decide. Of course, horseradish is very, very strong. So I'm going to take and slice, and then I'm going to cut those into small pieces. I'm going to end up straining this, but we're going to flavor some chicken stock with our horseradish. Now you can also grate it, but we're just going to simply slice it. And then I have, as Chef Escoffier says, some white consomme. I'm just going to use some chicken stock because I think that is a really good idea for this. So I've got that done. I've got some white chicken stock right here. And I'm simply going to take that and just put that right into my chicken stock. and let that cook for about 20 minutes to get all of that flavor. And then I'm going to strain it. It's up to you. You can actually grate it, keep it in there. You can just acquire the essence of it, strain it out, whichever you like. And so here is our chicken Maryland that is finished. We have a beautiful garniture of our corn fritters with our fried bananas and then our bacon on top. Very classic, just like Chef Escoffier. Let's go ahead and put on our horseradish cream sauce. So just a little bit, just right over that. So many recipes for chicken Maryland will just include a cream gravy, but not Chef Escoffier. We're going to have a beautiful horseradish sauce. As you could see, it was quite a preparation between making the cream sauce itself, doing the horseradish, and then adding in a liaison of egg yolks and cream with some mustard. So very nice. Let's go ahead and taste it. Let's see what it's like. I'm going to cut just a little bit right here. It smells so good. Like I said, the fritters are so amazing. That's the best flavor. It is really decadent. This is not an everyday meal. This really shows the type of food that people used to eat, and but it is so wonderful. There's so much flavor and so good. And now we've worked on frying some chicken. We've also explored the controversy of fried chicken. So, thank you so much for joining us. Please remember, subscribe to us, like our channel, and share it with others. Check our contest out. We're giving away a free paella pan, and come back often. Look for many more recipes and a lot more fun. Have a great, great day, and happy cooking from Grand Cuisine.